Hello, this is Demai. Today, we are shooting a follow-up episode from the previous discussion that we already talked about the database migration from AWS to Alibaba Cloud. In the previous episode, we are using database migration service from AWS. Today, we are talking about a similar tool, but it's built by Alibaba Cloud. So instead of using the DMS from AWS, we're using this data transmission service, short for DTS, that is built by Alibaba Cloud. The DTS is a very similar tool that supports data migration and synchronization between different data engines, and particularly for relational database. As of today, we'll talk about how to do that for PostgreSQL. And this also one of the tools that you can specially leverage for the database migration. And they are also provide similar functionalities like migrating the existing data and also including the incremental data migration and replication. For the pre-setup, please reference to the previous episode. And for today, we already set up the PostgreSQL on AWS and also the PostgreSQL on Alibaba Cloud. So first, we will log on to the one on AWS on the upper right corner. Here, we already have one database that's set up that mimic the online retailer. And we use our simulation program to insert a for row there. For the database that on Alibaba Cloud, we yet create this database yet. Okay, go to Alibaba Cloud, we'll find this service under database and utility. On the top one, data transmission service. Go ahead to purchase one of the jobs here. We like to do a migration. Data migration, and since both of our database are created in Singapore region, we'll choose that one. Currently, use a small one. After active this service, we'll go to the console. We'll find the console that for DTS, doing data migration. We'll create a new migration task. Do a name here. So here, the source is the PostgreSQL on AWS, so we need to use the user-created database using the public IP address. The database type is PostgreSQL. We need to access through the host name or IP address. That's the one we just used. This is the host name, the port number. Also, the username is NIDM, the database is domain. Database username. Well, for here, we need to set it one more thing. We are access this AWS PostgreSQL using the public IP address. So we have to set up that also allow that to be accessible. So here we will need to get the IP address segment for the DTS service. We do a copy. That is a range of IP address for all of them in Singapore region. Copy here, close it. We'll go to AWS. I have RDS. This is our PostgreSQL. For set up the connectivities that we just mentioned, we need to set up that for the connections through the security group. It's the inbound rule. To edit that, so we will need to edit one more rule here for Postgres. Paste here. Alibaba Cloud. Save the rule. So it showed up here. Let's go back. Now we can test the connectivity. While doing the testing, I'm fill up this one. Oh, it passed already. That means we have accessibility to the AWS from the DTS to the AWS PostgreSQL. Here, the target database is within Alibaba Cloud. And since I'm using the same ID, so it can automatically detect the RDS instance. There are several of them. The one I'm using is here, PostgreSQL. And just to make sure, so I'm accessed is here, and using this IP address and the database name and username. Same thing, doing the testing. Okay, also passed. Can go to the next one. Because they have the access to that, they already be able to find the schema names and set the tables that underline this source database. So we will do both schema migration. As we shared earlier, the database haven't been created on the target yet. We will just migrate the schema. For data migration, there's the existing for row on it. And to mimic the similar situation that we also have a running workload on it, we will also include the incremental data migration here. So let's find the table where it is. Okay, this is the one I will do that. So I click that, and for this one, we will just have that. Let's do a pre-check. Okay, all passed. Next. We will confirm the setting. We use a small one since we are doing a testing here. Okay, this is the one we just did. This is the one we just created. It takes a few minutes for the migration to kick off. and complete the schema migration first, then the full data migration, as it showed here. And it also shows 4 rows of data are migrated. We'll take a look here. And all the 4 rows is here. Well, the migration not done yet because we just finished the full data migration, and we need to test whether the incremental data migration work or not. So as demonstrated before, we will use the simulator to make sure we connect. We set the environment variable to insert the data to the AWS Postgres instance. It's okay. We'll insert some row here. Now it's connect and begin to insert. We begin to have more row to the south, the AWS PostgreSQL. And the same thing should get in push over, migrate over. Well, I can tell this work is happening. Also, we can monitor the progress. Doing a manual refresh. Migration is happening. We go in detail here. We can monitor that and also look at the log. Well, it's running, we can look at that. Okay. The schema migration is already done. Full data migration, 4 rows completed. Incremental, it takes a little time, but it can already tell it's happening. And also there are different, just more information to show what is happening, some of the performance metrics showing during the migration, and also a task log to show the event. Well, in the insert, we will give it some time for all the data come over. Already about 200 rows there. Well, as you can see, it works very similar as what we described in our previous episode. As the first episode, we using the DMS from AWS. Today, we're using the DTS. Both of them doing the data migration. It's just one from Alibaba Cloud, another is come from Amazon's AWS. And they're doing the similar thing. First, they will migrate the schema. Basically, it creates the similar or the same table as the source on the target. And then it's doing the full data migration to migrate the existing data from the source to the target. And eventually, they are doing the constantly incremental migration that mimic online migration period until the window is come that we pick up all the change on the source, then application switch over can be done, and we'll stop the migration period and point our application to the new working database instance. Simulation program just finished. We should have the same number of rows on both ends. Yeah, we do have it. So that means the migration is done, and once validate the data, we can see it. We can switch over to the new database that created and migrate to Alibaba Cloud. Well, before we go there, let's quickly look at the migration service here. We have full migration. We have incremental migration. That is the information that during the migration, as we can see, it takes a little bit time for the program to finish. Now it's done. That's also an indicator that now it's no job is doing the migration. Everything is catch up. What we will do is we'll go ahead, remove this job, doing a little bit of cleanup. Let's stop it. And remove this migration task. By removing that means there's no more data will be migrated. So if we do something again, for example, I will insert some more data here. That's another for row to the source. So 4 more row I did, but our target, that's the PostgreSQL on the Alibaba Cloud, will not receive the new row anymore. Okay, now we are done. And in the real world, you should already switch over your application to the target, to the new working PostgreSQL. Okay, that's all for today. Today we are using DTS, the data transmission service provided by Alibaba Cloud, to migrate PostgreSQL from AWS to PostgreSQL. Thank you for watching. Until next time.